All right, let's get started. Thanks everybody for joining. Couple housekeeping notes. If you would like to ask a question, please just use the chat and Mazen will be monitoring that. We'll try and leave some time near the end to answer those. If you have any challenges hearing us, seeing us, please put your hand up or comment that in the chat as well, and we'll make sure we correct that. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're from. I'm Graham Walker from ATS Software, and my colleague Mazen Mustafa is with me here today. We're going to walk you through the ATS AI quoting application that we've had out for about coming on 4 years, and just going to give you some sense of what it's all about, some of the new features that we're bringing to the table, and hopefully provide you with some insight into what it can help you do. So let's get started. We're going to cover the question of, can ChatGPT read plans and specs? We're going to talk about why specialized AI is required. We're going to talk about how to simplify the effort that goes into things like cross-references, pricing requests, and submittal creation. And we're going to talk about why email might not be the best way to get pricing back and forth between wholesalers and reps. And lastly, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the tools that we have in the future of what we believe AI is doing and where we're headed. So, pardon me, just to get started, if you choose to join us, you'll be joining a crowd of very accomplished and well-established wholesalers, as well as rep groups who are on auto quote. And we'd be happy to have you. So that's part of the reason why we're here today, just to give you a sense of whether this is a good fit for you. So before we get started, one of the things I'm going to do is launch a quick poll. Requires you to just quickly answer that. So we'll take, there's 2 questions. We'll take 30 seconds for this. All right, is that showing up okay on your side? Excellent. So the first one is select all areas where you may be using AI today in your email, sort of basic question and answer, which is ChatGPT type style. Are you analyzing data or spreadsheets? Are you doing image generation? Are you using AI in things like customer service or order fulfillment or other tasks like quoting, etc.? And then number 2 is, do you believe AI can be valuable in your quotation work? So yes, and so on. So looks like we've got a good number of folks entering. I'll give it another 10 seconds, and then I will share that. 3, 2, 1. I'll quickly share the results. I'm not sure if you're seeing that. Are you seeing this? So it looks like 57% of you are using it for ChatGPT, sort of question and answer style chat. 7 are using it for email response, about the same amount for data and spreadsheets, image generation, just 1 in other sort of activities. And generally the belief is, yes, there is a belief that AI can be valuable, just not sure how it works, and maybe there's still some work to be done to make this highly effective. So I would agree with all of those. It's an emerging field, as you know, and it's moving extremely rapidly. So thank you for that input. All right. Just for fun, did some image generation on Midjourney, and on the left I said I forget what the prompt was, but it ended up being quite funny where it's like, I wanted a bathroom with some space, not a bathroom in space. And then on the left, I was just playing around with things like, maybe create a faucet that is very unique in the market that has the Starry Night theme on it. So that was kind of fun. And then you got to love stuff like this that is very photorealistic. This is pure AI. I said, show pictures of kids giving their parents a hug, and it's very heartwarming. But maybe some of you feel like this while you're looking at your quoting work at lunchtime, and everything looks like your lunch. So we can relate to that as well. Here's who we are. ATS has been around for since 1969, so it's more than 50 years. And without going into all the details, we want to focus on, in 2022, we launched AI-powered automated quote process, and it was even before ChatGPT came on the market. And so we've been early to the game. We had some challenges right out of the beginning, just because of the nature of early technology, often is bleeding edge, as they say. But we've got a really strong growth and I think potential here that could be will definitely, we believe, change the way that wholesalers, reps, and even manufacturers are involved in the commercial construction bidding process. So what I also want to focus on is that we have been almost exclusively dedicated to the plumbing industry. This business was started by the current owner. His father started the business, and he was a plumbing engineer. And won't go into all the details there, but very, very long history of understanding plumbing, and we are now getting into HVAC and a few other categories as well. So, quick question. Can ChatGPT read plumbing plans and specs? Some of you may have tested this, and obviously there's not just ChatGPT on the market. There's other large language models, Claude and Gemini, and you name it. There are several of them out there, and you will get varying degrees of success. But my simple point is it's not quite ready just to right out of the box upload a set of plans and specs and ask it to pull things off. It's going to miss things like in the box on the right. It's going to it says the model's not specified, and yet it is in the actual application. It's specifying urinals where they should be in the water closets, et cetera. So it's just, there's a lot of there's a packed amount of information in those plans and specs, as you know, and it's really difficult for an untrained, even companies as big as and as robust as ChatGPT and Google, et cetera. They're just not there yet. So that's why specialized AI is really required for commercial quoting. So this is an image that shows a plumbing fixture schedule that ran through our application. We highlight everything, and we give you this output, by the way, as a PDF, so you can visually refer back to it. And you'll notice it highlighted everything related to plumbing, and then in yellow, and then in green, it captures the products, and will extract those to the point where from within about 5 to 6 minutes, you've gone from just getting started and uploading the plans and specs to 60, 70% of the way done your project, your quote, in 5 minutes. So again, screenshot here on the left is what our AI found in the schedules. And on the right, it starts to build out the quote for you. So it tries to quote to spec. We're going to talk a little bit about alternatives and cross-references and adding value engineering and those sorts of things. We've thought through all that stuff. But the simple point here is that with specialized training that we took a long time to get somewhat perfected. I hate to use the word, it's not perfect, but we do run about 98% accuracy on this, and we're working on to increase that. It's that last couple percent, 2-3%, that takes a lot of effort to get that. But you're going to find for the most part that you're going to be able to extract all the products very quickly and have that quote there. And then you kind of got to start doing a little bit more work. So, for example, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the schedule for a second. And item number 1, 2, and 3 are obvious, right? It's the aft wall, and it's the flush valve number 2, and it's the seat in number 3. But you'll notice number 4 and 5 over here in red are hidden in the description, and there's a hardwired power kit, and there's a suitable fixture care. What is that? Well, obviously, a quoter would need to understand that. And so how do we handle that? So that's what we want to show you. So today, what we're going to demonstrate here, we'll pull up the actual live system shortly, but our approach to this is to say what you see at the top there, AI plus the concept of packages plus the concept of the system being self-reinforced learning. It makes your entire experience that much better. So, for example, there's the aft wall toilet and there's the flush valve. How did I get the carrier and the power kit into that? What I did is I used a package, and we'll show you that separately. You can name a package, you know, whatever you want. You can name it by product codes. You can name it by a certain name that you always give it. You can use any sort of codes or real words, up to you how you want to do that. And when you type that in, it is then going to give you that result. So I see a hand raised. Is that because you can't hear us, or was that more of a question? Okay. Just type in the chat if you got a quick question. Otherwise, I'll keep going here. So once you do a selection like this, where you're bringing a package in so that you're meeting the engineer's requirements, you can teach the AI. You click on the thumbs up button and it remembers that. So that's the reinforced learning process. And the more you use it, the more it learns, the more it knows, the faster it gets, the less typing and adjustment that you will need to make in the future. Now, we fully realize that every project's different. You don't always follow exactly the same process. So we will show you how we give a lot of variation in the capabilities of the system to be able to handle those sorts of unique and in projects that require a unique approach. So we've been doing this for a while. Our main database has over 10 million products in it, over 5,000 manufacturers in that. In 2024, flowing through the AutoQuote platform with our wholesalers and rep, $11.2 billion were quoted. 100,000 plus projects were quoted, and that equates to almost 4 million line items in all of those quotes. So the system's been stress tested, and we're happy to announce that it's not just the AutoQuote platform. We are introducing a whole network effect. And today we're going to talk a little bit about this diagram. So it's maybe a bit of an eye chart, but we're going to initially focus on AutoQuote. So I'm going to take you through a few quick steps. Then we're going to focus on Quote Connect on the left, which is more our module inside AutoQuote. So it's not a standalone application for reps. It is a module that's part of AutoQuote that talks to it. And then I'm just gonna mention our quote takeoff capabilities, which is more for contractors. Of course, anybody use it. We just wanted to make the chart look symmetrical. So the quote takeoff function is just that. It uses AI to count quantities. So just to quickly follow the numbers and on this graph, let's say a contractor up in the top right sees a project they want to bid on. They can send a request off to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler will run the AutoQuote AI process. They will identify line items that need to get up from a rep, and then they will send those right out of AutoQuote. It pops up an alert for the rep in an email as well. They can open that up. They can price those items, and it gets sent back directly into AutoQuote and therefore auto quote can be sending the quantity of one, right? Wholesalers typically don't quote the quantities, but it's quantity of one is going to be sent back to the contractor, wherein they can use the quote. While all that's going on, they can use the quote takeoff module to do the quantity takeoff. So we're going to talk about primarily auto quote and quote connect today, and we'll have another webinar later on, probably near the end of the month or next month, around our quote takeoff to go into more detail. Okay, so 5 simple steps for auto quote. Remember, this is the middle function here where it's primarily focused on wholesalers, although a lot of rep groups get into our ecosystem also use auto quote. Obviously, they're using it from a different capacity as a rep, but they still use auto quote. And the whole concept of Quote Connect, you'll see in a second, is for those reps who don't use auto quote or might use another tool, or this is a way to efficiently bring pricing into the equation so that their wholesalers get their projects priced first. First bid, first in. You know the value. I'm sure you all know the value of getting first in. Okay, really quick. How does it work? How does auto quote work? You upload your plans and specs. It's not just the schedules. You can upload the written specs as well into auto quote, just PDFs. It reads PDFs at the moment. And you push a button, it will go through anywhere from 60 seconds to, depending on how many pages there are, it could be 3-4 minutes tops. It will extract all the items and it will start to build the quote for you. Once the quote is there, it will start to try and match those items with what you have in your library of products that you sell. So we hook this up with, for the wholesaler anyhow, we hook this up with your ERP system so that we're making sure there's a match, and you have inventory visibility, you have discontinued items, which we track, you track. There's sort of a couple of variations there. It is essential to connect with your ERP system so that we've got accurate alignment on what you carry and what you don't. And obviously, if you don't carry something, you're going to go out for pricing on that, or you have other methods of where you get those things, or you can cross them. So the big orange boxes talk about the fact that you can cross, and you can teach the system. Maybe you want your Kohler house, so you want to cross every American Standard Cadet to a Kohler, or maybe you have a couple of different options. So the bottom big orange box says, well, here's multiple options. It's maybe not always a 1-to-1. So then it drops down and you can have both individual products or packages. See this little 3-box icon there? That indicates that there's more than one item in that package. So you can quickly select that. And of course, the thumbs up, thumbs down is not likes on Facebook. That would be so 2005. This is just how you teach the AI system how it works. All right. Then step 4 out of 5. We're almost there. You, as a quoter, you're going to go in and you're going to review. You're going to edit that. You can cross things. There's directly in the system, you drop an option down. You can open up a cross-reference window, which Mazen will show you, and it will go and get a cross for you. All of our crosses, by the way, we have a library of crosses. All of them have been validated by the manufacturers because we have a separate side of our business, which is for engineer specification work, and all of those crosses have to be done and validated by the manufacturer before we push them out to wholesalers or reps. And then a product configurator is typically used in things like drains, things that have complex configuration. We have a number of manufacturers that have every single one of their spec sheets, drains, for example, fully electronic. So all you got to do is just check off the various suffixes, and it will not only does it protect you from clicking things that are impossible to build. In other words, it will prevent you. It will prevent you from making a mistake on that configuration of that drain, but it will build the price and it will build the description. So it's a great tool for those of you who may be doing a lot of configured items. Last step for auto quote: download a quote. You can make it look, there's lots of flexibility in the way it looks on the left-hand side. Obviously, this is just representation of that, but then last, but by far and away, not the least, it's actually one of the most valuable aspects of AutoQuote is click one button, generate your entire submittal package, all highlighted with to align to exactly the items you have in your quote. So let's now jump quickly back to this image over to Quote Connect. I have 5 more slides and we'll actually jump into the. What is Quote Connect? It's brand new to us. Took a while to build it, but it is ready to go and connects seamlessly. And so AutoQuote is what the wholesaler typically use. And if you're a rep who's not already on AutoQuote, you can go AutoQuote to AutoQuote, by the way, just confused by that. But you would send a pricing request to a rep. The rep would see that and reply back directly into the line item inside AutoQuote. So 5 quick slides. It's initiated by the wholesaler. And you'll see here in this this sort of oblong box here on the top left, as you check those boxes for each line item, it's going to put a placeholder inside AutoQuote and say, okay, I'm going to wait for your price back from the rep. You can continue on and price all the other items that you might have already in your database. And then you send the bid invitation. And the benefit of that is all your vendor quotes in one place for quick access and easy tracking. Step 2, the rep receives the pre-selected products for rapid pricing. Send an email just like you see here, and then they log into the application. And by the way, there's the Quote Connect application as a module is no cost to the rep. So the reps will receive this, they can log in, they can take a look at only the line items that need pricing. Now, the wholesaler might want to include the PDF of the whole project just because the rep might be interested in looking at how to expand that quote. But regardless, it is no longer will you need to say, hey, here's the entire multiple PDF project. Can you go in and find those products to quote? You know, wholesalers oftentimes don't have the time, or they leave their responsibility to the rep to go and find what you rep and get it back to us. Well, this is going to bring a lot of efficiency to the equation because really it's direct into the real-time interaction with only the line items that are related to you as a rep. And the system knows that there's back-end work that gets set up to accomplish that. Step 3, automated billing. So the Quote Connect automates that pricing between the rep and the quoter. So the rep would receive this. This is a screenshot that you would use in the system. And it's like, okay, this rep here got three line items, and here's the products. And they would go and put their list price, their net price, their multiplier. There's a couple different options there. They can upload a PDF if they want to. They can put some other descriptions. There's a lot of, it's almost like replying to an email, but it's now directly connected to AutoQuote. That's the benefit. Because at the end of the day, automating this to the degree that we can will eliminate errors and ensure consistency, efficiency, and rapid response. So step 4, the rep shares it. It goes directly back to the wholesaler who's on AutoQuote, and a little bell pops, dings, and a little notification pops up, and they're like, hey, you've received a price. And you open that up, and by doing that, you're now not looking back and forth to your email. Oh my gosh, why didn't that rep get back to me? Maybe it fell below the fold. They didn't notice the email. Now I got to send them another one, and et cetera, et cetera. So all of this, it saves a tremendous amount of time. And then the last step is the wholesaler goes, okay, I'm importing pricing from my vendor. It tells them what it is that came back. So it's all connected to the original request. And then they can just import that, and you can line up the fields and make sure that's done. There's a little bit of setup to get all that done. but then boom, you import it, and ultimately you're cutting down on manual work, and you're getting your quote out faster. So that's the vision for Quote Connect in AutoQuote. Everyone is given the tools they need to efficiently automate this process. Now, just a quick note, Quote Connect, this is version 1. There are features and functions that I'm sure some of you might ask, can I do this, can I do that? We are continuing to enhance this, and so there are a couple things we wish we could have pushed out in version 1, but it won't be for probably every 2 months plus or minus, we'll be having releases inside Quote Connect that will give you more and more and more functionality. So we're going to just continually enhance it, but we're starting out with this first version of our Quote Connect capabilities. So we're done here, and we're going to jump quickly over to the live.
Graham, there's a question in the chat from Renee Jones. The question is, which ERP systems have you integrated with?
So Mazen, why don't you go ahead and answer that? You've done a lot of that.
Yeah, so we're pretty much integrated into, I don't know, over 40 or 50 ERP systems at this point. It varied between Eclipse to Mincron to homegrown ERP systems to Infor CSD. It doesn't really matter what the ERP system is. We've been able to integrate into all of them because we started the integration process from scratch. So this is not like a set integration that we apply to all. It's like a customized integration that goes into every single wholesaler or account that signs up with us.
Yeah. There's effort there. Let's not kid ourselves. There is effort to get connected to ERP, but we monitor it for you. All your data is private. You have your separate instance. There's no sharing of data at all between any of our customers. Just one quick note, I wanted to jump out and say, if any of you were able to join the ASA webinar series, I did a webinar back in January, the end of January, about ChatGPT and beyond, which jumps into a lot of use cases for AI beyond just AutoQuote. This was not a demonstration of AutoQuote. It was more of general use cases. So look up, if you want, I can actually put that URL in the chat. And Mazen, I will chat on here. I guess I can do that and take a look at that if you're interested. Okay. I'm going to take about a minute, and then Mazen is going to jump into a lot more detail. The reason I'm going to just be brief here is I just want to show you what we just saw in the slides, okay? And then Mazen is going to give you a little more sense of the tool, plus he's going to show you Quote Connect and how that all works together. So what am I looking at? What are you looking at? This is AutoQuote. This is the dashboards, fully customizable. You can set them up as you need it. We're going to jump in here. I'm going to go to one of my track projects called Academy Sports. And I'm in the project page. It's got my information. It's got all the contacts that are involved in this project. And I've got some files here under the protected section. These are my specs. And then I've got some quotes and so on. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you. You've seen this. This was in the slide deck earlier. This is the version of the. This was a real project. It was some time ago now, but this is the version of the plumbing schedule that ran through AutoQuote. This took about 65 seconds to complete, and it identified, in our PowerPoint, we talked about this UR1, this WC1. When we're not going to go, we don't have time to go through all of it, but the premise is here. It captured all those items. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that real quickly. So back to AutoQuote. I am now going to go into one of the quotes. You can do multiple quotes, by the way. You can do requotes. You can do, and it will lock other quotes. So you got a history of what the changes you might have made. There's a lot of capabilities on that there. Let me just close the sidebar so you can see as much of the screen as you can. I'm going to show the project or the AI images. I can turn that on and off. I don't always want to see what the AI quoted and what the engineer had specified, but for the sake of today's conversation, I do want to see that. So here's the urinal and the flush valve. Here's the aft wall toilet and the flush valve and the seat. And it's quoted to spec. The 655-0001 is here. It picked it up. It immediately put it there. Once it's there, I don't need to continually push this thumbs up button. That's only typically if there was, if I didn't want that, I could push a bad recommendation. I can push it down. It will drop it off the list. But it's sort of a pseudo voting. It doesn't mean if you give it 500 votes, it's never going to ever come off the list. It just means the AI recognizes that you are giving that a thumbs up. But remember how I said I wanted this instead of a urinal, or sorry, this was down here in I think that was here in the aft wall toilet. I wanted it with a carrier. So what the heck did I call it? I created a package called aft wall with carrier. Here it is. So if I hover over this little bar, it might be hard to see on your screen. I apologize, it's very small. It shows that I've got the aft wall toilet and I've got the Watts vertical carrier. So I just click that, it replaces it, gives me a little bit of detail. I can shrink that line back down, but now I've got that aft wall toilet with my carrier. I'm done. Shrink that down. And now remember the flush valve needed a power, needed a wired power connection. So I think I called it AS power. Oh, there it is. Fixed. I forget what FV. Flush valve. American Standard flush valve with wired product in it. So again, I can see what it is. Okay, that's the toilet, or that's the flush valve, and then here's the power kit. So I click on that. Same thing happens. It instantly drops those two line items there, and I'm done. Right? I've now just finished that entire WC section, and I can come over here. I can move it up and down. Depends on where I want to put it. I can duplicate it. I can clear it. I can delete it. I can change templates. Maybe I don't want all these columns on the right-hand side here. Maybe I only need 2 or 3 or 4. There's a lot of flexibility here in the application. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention to show you how quickly with AI, with the knowledge and the wisdom that all of you and the experience that you all bring to this equation, the tool will allow you to build it such that you can be very efficient in the process of completing a quote. Again, I'm going to switch it over to Mazen. Maybe you can just get your system ready, Mazen, but look at, I got section totals. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but down at the bottom, I've now got a very loosely defined grand total of 21,000. I can put my T's and C's in here, et cetera, et cetera. And I can even manage this concept of auto update pricing. So, prices have been stable forever and ever. Nobody ever changes the price. There's no environment where manufacturers ever need to change the price. But just in case it does happen, we have this function that allows you to have a quote, and then if the prices change in the database, which we will help you maintain, by the way, you can do it yourself, or we can help you with it. We can do it ourselves. There's a couple of options there. All you got to do is hit auto update pricing, and anything that's changed in the database will automatically come into this quote and update the system. Okay, I'm going to stop my share. Mazen's going to walk you through a day in the life of a quoter from the perspective of a wholesaler, but also with the equation of bringing the Quote Connect function into it.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So again, guys, I'm picking up where Graham left off basically on auto quote. So what we're going to be going or walking through right now is going to be the Quote Connect module and how it ties into the quoting process of a wholesaler and how that carries over to a rep and back to a wholesaler again. Now, I'm under the same quote that Graham was on when he was sharing his screen. Now, the process starts by as a quoter, as I'm going through my project, I'm able to click on these little checkboxes here that says basically these are the SKUs that I'm gonna be asking my vendors for pricing on. Now I have the option of just clicking on select everything from my quote, or I can pick and choose which ones I'd like to send through. Now from there, I go to click on send bid invitation. It only pulls through the products that I have check marked. There is a secondary step, I guess, where during the setup of your own Code Connect account, you're able to automate who are your preferred vendors. So for example, for an American Standard vendor, you have, this rep, or for American Standard flush valves, you have another rep. So all that can be automated, and depending on what products you have checked boxed on the quote, those vendors will be popping up here. But for now, I'm just gonna add in a sample rep agency here. Next step is click on next. From here, I have the option of including the AI processed file. Maybe for the rep's reference, I can add in a subject here. So I'm going to say pricing request. I can add in a body of the email, any other attachments of my choice, and then I can click on send. Now, how this shows up on the rep side is that it'll send it through, and the rep will get an email like this. It'll invite them to AutoQuote. It'll send them a specific link. Once they open up that link, oh, there it is. That's the updated one. Once it gives you that link, you just click on it. It opens up Code Connect. Now, again, this flow is for a user who is not on AutoQuote. So in situations where the rep is not a user of AutoQuote, and it sort of gives them like an external link that they can get into. Now, as a rep, this will be your dashboard. You'll find all the requests that you've received from all the different wholesalers. It'll tell you who did the request come in from and the status on every quote. So for example, you'll see a couple of these saying they've been submitted. For this one, it's saying that it's awaiting pricing. Now I click on view bid invitation details, and this gives me some more information on the project and who the wholesaler that I received this from is. And then if I scroll down, you'll see that I have the exact SKUs that I've checkboxed on AutoQuote. From here, just gonna go ahead and copy and paste these in here. Now it's using the reps information, the reps data, pricing, descriptions to populate this information in. And let's say because this job has, a large amount of quantities, I want to give them a nice discount or a better multiplier. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them 0.65. And I'm gonna copy and paste that. You'll start to see my net prices are changing accordingly. My description has automatically loaded in. I have the option of including notes for every product, or if I have any supporting documents that I want to send through with these SKUs, I can also upload those. If I scroll down to the very bottom of the page, I'll have access to the AI processed file that the wholesaler has chosen to share with me. If I click on this link, you'll see that this is the same document that Graham was looking at earlier on AutoQuote. Now, the next step is to go back onto the tool, click on bid. I have the option for including my terms and conditions. And I click on next. I have the option of setting up a template so that it'll have my signature, for example, my contact information if I choose to include that. My subject, I've set this up as a template, that's why it's showing up. But again, this is something that is fully customizable to the end user. I want to say this is a pricing reply for Academy Sports Again, I can include a body of the email, and once I click on send, this sends it back to the wholesaler. If I click on complete, it takes me back to my dashboard, and you'll notice that my status changed from awaiting pricing to submitted. Now, once I go back onto AutoQuote, let's click on complete over here, you'll see that this bell icon up top has lit up. So it pops up. It doesn't matter where you are on AutoQuote, you'll always get this notification. You click on view details, and it basically takes you to the project or the quote that you received this pricing for. Now, once I come on here, I have this little button that says view vendor quotation. And you can see here that I've received my pricing back from the vendor that I requested pricing from. Click on action, import pricing. Again, this is one of these things that you can default. You can set it up once to be your settings. But then again, just because we're under a demo environment right now, we're going to go ahead and map these. So I received a list price, a multiplier, and a net price. If as a wholesaler, if I choose not to import the list price, I don't want to import the multiplier, and I only want to just import my net price, I can also do that from here. And then I want to say I want my net price to map over to my cost override field. Click on next. You have the option of double checking if the products are mapped out correctly. And once you click on import, you'll see that my prices under cost override, the 130 and 117. I'll scroll down, 195 and 208, and those are the prices that have been imported in from the vendor. Once I'm done with this quote, I can click on save or exit if I'm completely done with it. And I can get on to my downloads. So if I click on quote, I can configure what my print would look like from here. Graham, I believe you've had screenshots of the prints.
There was one screenshot in the opening presentation, but
So that's good.
go ahead and show that.
So this is basically your standard quote print. You'll have your logo up top here, the customer information, and then whatever configuration you had configured on the tool. There's a lot of customization that comes with this print. You can choose to include some hyperlinks to spreadsheets. If you want to include images, if you want a bundle price, you can choose which columns you want to show or hide on this print. The second print that you can also get from AutoQuote is going to be your shop drawing or your submittals package. Once I click on shop drawing, it takes me to a page where I can manage the submittals that are being printed out. And once I click on continue, it will print this out for me. So kind of cover page, your logo, project information, table of content, and then the spec sheets with the exact highlighted options and configurations. For the third print, you can also get O&Ms from AutoQuote. Again, you click on O&Ms, and then you have the option of including your operations guide, your installation manual, your warranty, or any other documents of your choice. Any document that you upload onto AutoQuote gets saved for future use. So I only upload the operations guide once for the 6550, and that will get remembered for any future projects. And then the last print is an Excel export of the quote, and we typically have a fifth option here for wholesalers. As soon as they click on it, it maps or takes this quote over to their ERP system.
All right. Thank you, Mazen. Let me, do we have any questions that, I'm not sure, is the audio open? I apologize. I'm not sure if I set that up properly. if anyone wants to ask a verbal question, we'll see if we can hear you. We may not be able to. If not, maybe just type it in the chat or in the Q&A. And then let me just give you a quick taste of the, and it's a very quick taste of the quantity takeoff. I'm going to share my screen again, one moment. It's just a single screenshot. You will see here. It is live, by the way. We just didn't have the time and sort of the opportunity to dive into it today. So it is available. But it will read, this screenshot is showing you on an iPad, in this case, all the plumbing, or pardon me, the HVAC duct length, sizing, elbows, diffusers. It'll count all that, output it to just a simple CSV file. It is now capable of also counting fixtures. And is it perfect? No, this is part of the training process, but that these programs will continue to get better as the technology gets better and as more training happens. But the beauty of this is it also allows you to have your own on-screen takeoff. So if any of you have used some of the, maybe the more traditional on-screen takeoff functions out there where you take your mouse and you either just click, 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 or maybe you drag and draw a box around certain things, it has all that functionality as well. But because the AI gets about, I don't even know the percentage, to be honest, so I want to be careful what I promise on that, but it is very effective at finding all the items. And if it happens to miss one, you can manually add it. And you've just saved a tremendous amount of time by not having to start with a blank canvas. It has this really cool feature that will allow you to do an inverse of the screen. So everything that's taken off, you can have it disappear so that now you can have the visual of what might have been missed. So it's a really great functionality that we're eager to get going. So take a look for that in the future. But other than that, I will stop sharing. We'll open it up one more time. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, we had a
not,
couple of questions that came in. So Lee Hammer is asking, can you elaborate on how the pricing is updated? Does it pull from the ERP? Does it update the list price directly from the manufacturer? So Lee, as a part of the integration, we set up an SFTP connection that automatically updates the information based on what you have on your ERP system. So this is done through an automated file. We'll set it up on a daily basis so that any pricing changes, any product status, if whether it's active, discontinued, even inventory levels, if you would like to view that on AutoQuote, we can have that integrated as well. We also have another question from Pete. How do you get this program? Well, you can reach out to us or we can reach out to you, Pete. We can set up a proper demo so that we can show you all the different functionalities of AutoQuote. This was sort of like the 30,000-foot view of what you get with the tool, but we'll give you a deeper conversation to get more details. Renee Jones.
ATS software. Sorry, I was just saying ATSsoftware.com. You can learn a little bit more about it. Yeah.
Renee is asking how our products map from the ERP to AutoQuote. Is it a manual process or do we simply download our data from the ERP for use in AutoQuote? So Renee, we take care of that process. All you have to do on your side is that you'll download an export of your product data, I guess, and that is to include the ERP internal number. Now we use that as the source of truth to maintain the data on AutoQuote during that integration that happens on a daily basis. We also do enhance your product data if you need to with our own library, but that is a process that is completely taken care of by our internal team.
All right. If several people from our company want to use this, does the information merge? Yes, it does. You can have multiple people working on the same project. You can do different rebids, requotes. It's not dissimilar from you might expect from, multiple people working on a Word document or a Google document. That's no change, no difference there. And then does cross-reference data come from the user's ERP, or do you have an internal? Yeah, that's a great question. So we give you our cross-reference library as part of this, and you can add more if you need it. So if during the setup process, which by the way, takes us about 30 to 90 days. And I know that's a broad range, but there's a lot of variables in there. During that, one of the steps in our setup of AutoQuote is the importing of all your crosses. And if you have more than what we give you. And then Mazen, why don't you go ahead with, I'll answer the Adams. That's a great question, Adam. So a trial version, no, just because there is a lot of setup involved, and so what we would encourage you to do is we'll run a demo with you. We can even run one of your projects. Send us the project that you quoted last week or last month or last quarter. We'll run it through the system. You can compare it, and that's the best way to get a better understanding of it. And we'll do that as many times as you need to feel comfortable to answer all your questions. It's just there's so much setup and so on. We don't want to send you a trial account that might have some gaps or that doesn't have certain products that you quote and you're like, well, the system doesn't do this. Well, it's because it needs some setup, and that's why we try and avoid that. Great question about Trimble, Troy. It would be used in conjunction. Look, maybe I speak too quickly on that. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with Trimble. I know who Trimble is, obviously, but I don't know what all the bells and whistles are that you might use. And if you're using it for quoting or for on-screen takeoff, let's dive in and do some comparisons in a little more personalized demo, because I honestly am not sure. All right. So hopefully this was valuable, and we look forward to executing on our vision to get all the way from the contractor to the wholesaler to the rep and back in, we're not quite here yet, but we want to do that within 30 minutes. So we're working in that direction. We would love to have some of you on board. And by the way, if you're a rep on the call, you can still use other tools. You don't have to use AutoQuote if you want to use Quote Connect, because you're responding to wholesalers in your region that are on AutoQuote. There's no conflict there. You can still use any other tools you might use for quoting as a rep firm, because I know there is a number of products out there that are very focused on rep firms. But our goal longer term is for even reps to be on AutoQuote. Quote Connect is just a step in that direction. And the goal is, the reason you might move to AutoQuote from another tool that you might have is a wholesaler is going to start to prefer to get pricing from reps who are using Quote Connect and or AutoQuote, because it's going to be faster and quicker and easier. So once that ecosystem ties together, think of the tremendously overused analogy of Uber. If you've got enough drivers, there's going to be riders who are interested because the cars will be available, and vice versa. If there's enough riders, the drivers will want to come and become drivers because there's lots of riders to pick up. And we're using that same sort of network principle to say, if there's enough wholesalers who are using AutoQuote, and there's enough rep firms who are using AutoQuote, and enough contractors who are doing the quantity takeoff, we build a nice, very efficient network using artificial intelligence as the backbone of all of it. And we will continue to be adding features, functions, and capabilities because we're a software company, and that's what we do. That's what software companies do. So hopefully this was helpful for you. And unless there's any other questions, we will wrap it up at this point. Thank you, everyone. Look, reach out to us directly in any email, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.